So a wise man wants to strive for Ferrari's upgrade last weekend as the Hail Mary upgrade, although it did lead to a strong race performance from Hamilton and a podium for Leclerc. Do you think this is enough for them to push on? They need to outscore McLaren by 23 points per race to make a fight out of it in the championship. So obviously that's not happening. But for 28-point cushion to Mercedes, is it just about holding on now?
It is. It is. I mean, they'll want to kick on a bit as well, especially, with Monza coming up pretty soon as well. They'll want to improve. They'll want to be clear of Mercedes. And I think that'll show progress in the second half of the season, really. They just need to consistently be there. They definitely do look better. I mean, Hamilton obviously made two mistakes in both qualifying sessions, the sprint and the regular qualifying. So, the car was not to his liking at that point, but in the race, it was absolutely on fire. It was doing really well, and Charles Leclerc got a legitimate podium place. So I think they have taken a step forward. That car does look better. And, with a rear suspension upgrade like that, it's obviously going to come in handy everywhere, of course, but around a particularly kind of downforce heavy, a bumpy track, a track with quite a bit of elevation in places as well, you think that would really help them out coming into this weekend. And of course, nobody has more wins around Hungary than Sir Lewis Hamilton. 8 wins here. The next best guy's got 4, Schumacher. He is absolutely incredible around here. So if he's going to get that that first podium, that first ever actual Grand Prix podium for Ferrari, it's got to be this weekend.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I hadn't even factored that into my thought about Lewis Hamilton's record around here, and he could match his Silverstone total as 9, which is the record for any wins around any circuit. So it is a possibility, and we can do that. Would be amazing to do that in a Ferrari and to get that record. And but I think it's the second half of the season for me for Ferrari is more about winning races and trying to get some form of pride out of the season after saying they were going to fight for a championship at the start of the season. This never materialized. But the team that is directly behind them in the championship, Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli has had a wretched run of late with his Canada podium, his only points in the last, in any race since Miami, sprint or otherwise, which is nearly a third of the season. And Russell has finished every race in the points apart from 11th in Spain. Is it just a case of too much too soon for the teenager? And how do you fancy Mercedes' chances of trying to pull in on that gap to Ferrari this weekend?
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. I mean, George Russell got a very unlikely pole position here a couple seasons ago when Mercedes were not looking particularly great. Kimi Antonelli produced the performance of the season last season in Formula 2 around this track. So if they're going to recover, it's going to be somewhere around here. And if they have a good qualifying, it's a track that's difficult to overtake around, as we say many, many times. But I hadn't realised how bad Antonelli's form had actually been recently. I mean, the podium in Canada, unbelievable. Spain, mechanical retirement, can't do anything about that. But the first lap incident with Austria, that was all on him, rookie error. Britain got took out from behind by Hadjar, couldn't really do much about that. Wasn't looking particularly great anyway up until then, in fairness. But Spa, my God, I mean, that's the weekend where you're like, this is rough. He had 2 chances. He had 2, obviously the regular Grand Prix race and the sprint race. Qualified so poorly for both of them and was just relatively nowhere. He really, really looked out of his depth, unfortunately. But, he's 18 years of age. That's 4 years younger than Hamilton was when he made his debut. Max Verstappen, when he made his debut at a slightly younger age, he made mistakes. He made errors. He had bad weekends. Not as many, admittedly, but it's a tough one because I did listen to your Monkey Seat show, you and Carl's Monkey Seat show earlier today, and I did take on board some of those points. It may well be a season too soon for him than what would have been ideal, but Toto Wolff was desperate not to lose him like he did with Verstappen 10 years ago, so he had to promote him, especially with Hamilton leaving the team. So maybe ideally he could have spent another year in Formula 2, but he's clearly supremely talented, and I do think he'll turn it round. And this could well be the track to do it, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to kind of catch Ferrari because now it's all about how many upgrades you're going to have potentially between now and the end of the season. Ferrari aren't going to have any. I'd be surprised if Mercedes have many because they're all going to be focusing fully on 26. And you've got 2 drivers in Leclerc and Hamilton that are getting more comfortable with the car, getting more consistent, and Mercedes just seem a little bit off balance at the moment. So Ferrari looking strong for that second. I'd be surprised if Mercedes can make too much ground up on them.